I'm Dr. Susan Jewell, and I'm the CEO and founder of MMAARS, which stands for Mars Moon Astronautic Academy and Research Sciences. And we're based in USA, in California, and out in the Mojave Desert, very close to the Mojave Spaceport. So what is MMAARS and who am I? Well, right now, where are we? I'm so excited to say that we're here live at the IAC 2022 in Paris, France. And IAC is the annual International Astronautical Congress. And so we're presenting here, but we're also promoting MMAARS. So MMAARS basically was formed in 2015 to train the next generation commercial analog astronauts. So we have a training facility that we actually deploy real-time crews or analog astronaut crews out in our training facility in Mojave. So you can see here, if I go into this poster, that we actually select individuals, and usually these are composed of individuals who are scientists, researchers, or they're professionals, or even citizen scientists to join these missions. And we focus very much on, exponential or what we call frontier technologies to incorporate into these experiences. So this is a whole new paradigm of how you can offer sort of analog space experience in an experiential training analog facilities, and you get to actually interact with a lot of different technologies as part of a mission crew. So you're not going into space, that I need to be very clear. These are analog missions that's supposed to simulate one day being on a planetary surface, like Moon or Mars, right? But of course we're not doing these experiments or these experiences in space itself per se. We're doing it in a training facility or what we call analog sites on Earth. So crews come in, usually they comprise of 6 to 8 or even up to 12 or 16, and they all come in as a crew member, and each member has a position. They have roles and responsibilities, just like NASA astronauts that go onto the International Space Station. They all have a position or a role, and they're responsible for what they do in the mission crew. So in our mission, you get to see down here a lot of different activities, what we call EVAs or extravehicular activities, or IVAs or intravehicular activities. The difference between the two is when you do EVA, you actually wear a spacesuit. It's kind of like a spacewalk, the astronauts on the ISS. And then an IVA all activities are done inside a pressurized habitat, right? So in our missions, you get in person, and these missions can last from 2 weeks to 3 months to 6 months, or even a year, and you're able to experience, for example, a lot of technologies. In this case, you can see microgravity simulation, where you can go and wear a waterproof virtual reality glasses and simulate as though you're floating in space, right, in microgravity. Obviously, you're not in space, you're using the VR, the virtual reality headset, and you're immersed in a virtual simulation. And another thing that we do, and we've curated over the years, is how to train space doctors, or in this case, space medics, using technology, testing technology. And so we actually pioneered in 2014 the first teleanesthesia, telesurgery protocols, where we worked with Antarctic medical team at Concordia Station in Antarctica, and a crew, analog crew, or non-medical individuals that trained in our facility and tried to see, can they learn basic medical skills from a remote setting. And in this case, over the years, we've also integrated what we call, augmented reality, spatial computing, XR, to incorporate into the training protocols. You'll also be able to do other things. We're very focused on human factors, health and wellness. So you can see here body mapping, which is a clinically proven intervention for cancer patients or terminal patients. But we incorporate it into our mission, where you can use the HoloLens, or you could use the virtual reality headset and create your own body map. And why is this important, these kind of technologies, and why we want to integrate these experiences? Because it's a way to monitor, to track their crew wellness and health. right? Because each body map, for example, there, right, is a non-expressive art therapy, and you can do multiple ones throughout the mission, throughout the duration of the mission, and each one actually is like an X-ray or a blood work, because those are only indicating how you feel, your wellness and your health at that moment in time. So this is a really interesting way to use technology to also integrate into the mission, but also for individuals, participants, to learn and have the experience of innovative technology. Now, if you want to find out more, you can go to our website, www.MMAARS.com, and you can actually get to see what other activities, but also, you can register and be selected to join one of our upcoming missions, which we're starting in 2023, January. Now, what's so interesting as well is that we offer the virtual analog astronaut, as you can see here down below, where you can come in real time, no matter where you are, wherever you are, whatever your background. You can come into our virtual analog astronaut missions, and you can participate as a crew team, and you can also interact with the ongoing in-person mission. So you'll be part of the remote mission control team, part of the remote mission control team, and work in a remote setting to be able to interact with our crew. So you can see here, we use a software platform like Zoom, and that's an example here on the left here is an actual analog crew mission. These are all the participants, and they're joining the Zoom crew, and then they're able to learn a lot of the modules that we've developed, right? How do you do actually an EVA? So we do medical EVAs, we do astronomical EVAs. EVA stands for extravehicular activities, and you can learn that remotely. So basically, you could be in your pajamas on your couch, but yet you are live and you're interacting with other crew participants. And, which is very unique for us, if there was an actual crew running at the same time, you're able to interact as mission control participants to interact with the crew that's live in the Mojave Desert. So you can see here, right, where these are the crew, analog crews, and they're interacting with the crew out in the desert. So this is a hybrid program that allows you to participate in different ways through our virtual astronaut program. And one thing that's very interesting, if you're interested in robotics, in medicine, space medicine, this is what we focus on, is in really developing capabilities in medical technology for astronauts, and one day to be able to deploy these technologies for a planet surface. So we know the Artemis mission is the mission that's going for NASA to prove that we can get humans back on the moon for good and stay there. So human presence on another celestial body, Moon first and then Mars, is going to happen within this next decade or two. So we will actually start having humans living not only as small crews, but eventually as settlers, as a community, a city on the surface of another planet besides Earth. So this is kind of why we want to develop these training programs, and we focus on commercial because obviously there's a big difference in the selection criteria for NASA astronaut corps selection and for the commercial sector corps selection. And I think it's vitally important to understand why we do these analog missions. The one thing is to give you a sense of what it would be like if you were selected to be part of a mission crew, but to understand the parameters that you're working in. You know, what is the environment? Because you're living in a habitat that's isolated, controlled, or confined, and it's in a dangerous environment. And you're not allowed to leave that habitat at any time, except, of course, when you wear a spacesuit. So most people have experienced a little bit of that through this COVID pandemic over the years. What is it like to get cabin fever, as they say? you're stuck in your home, in your room, and you can't leave. How do you feel? What's the psychological effect of that? What are the behaviors that manifest from that condition? So when we say that we're going to actually have humans living in space, we better give them an experience of what it's like. Give them the challenges of what it's like, and at the same time address those challenges and find the solutions. And that is why we do these analog missions. That is the real reason, because it's not about space camp. That is a whole different thing. What we're doing and focusing on is professionals, so that one day we can actually create and develop the first commercial astronaut halls, right? These are scientists, these are doctors, these are professional engineers, and so on and so forth. Plumbers, space plumbers. We're going to need everybody, but they will be the ones that will fly into space to test the technology or the idea and to be part of the mission. So not everybody wants to go to space. But there are those who do, like myself, and that's why we created first MMAARS, and we created the virtual and in-person mission. So, like I said, we're excited here to be able to have this opportunity to work with our partners. Of course, we're with Space Renaissance International, with UNEX, with the Euro Mars Moon. We're here sharing this food and being part of trying to open up the conversation and offering the opportunities for anybody, anywhere, no matter where you're from, your background, your training. Now you can have a chance to have this experience, and one day, especially the next generation, you will have the opportunity to actually be an astronaut, and not only be an astronaut, but actually go into space and live in space. So that is kind of why I'm excited and why we developed MMAARS. So thank you so much for listening. Go to our website if you want to find out more, www.MMAARS.com, which stands for Mars Moon Astronautic Academy and Research Sciences. So what I'm going to end with is live long and prosper, and I hope to see a lot of you in space one day. Take care.